Okay, let's dive right into this. Welcome to this explainer, where we're breaking down the newly announced, highly anticipated 2028 anime Yu-Gi-Oh! Chrono Duel Nexus. If you've been following the evolution of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Franchise, you already know that each new series brings a massive shift to both the meta and the lore. But looking at the press releases and source data we have so far, Chrono Duel Nexus, or CDN, is shaping up to be one of the most ambitious projects Konami has literally ever put together. We're talking about a complete redefinition of the franchise's future, and it's all built around one incredibly compelling mystery.
When you check out the official logo, you can literally see the gears turning in the design. And trust me, that is not just some random aesthetic choice. The whole series centers around the core mystery of the Duel Nexus. According to the source material, this Nexus is a mysterious temporal hub. Picture a place where the past, present, and future eras all collide, and duelists from entirely different timelines just converge. It's an absolutely brilliant setup that immediately begs a massive question for us longtime lore fans.
Exactly. So, what actually lies at the center of the Chrono Nexus? By framing the entire upcoming series as this massive, overarching temporal puzzle to be solved, the creators are hooking us right from the jump. We aren't just watching characters play a card game anymore. We're stepping right into a multiversal time rift. The energy here is so mysterious and engaging, perfectly setting the stage for a narrative where the very fabric of time itself is the ultimate prize. To really grasp the gravity of this, let's take a quick rewind through the legacy we're dealing with. We've got Yugi, Jaden, Yusei, Yuma, Yuya, Yusaku, Yuga, and Udius. That is a 25-year history, 8 distinct protagonists. That carries immense, undeniable weight. As the 9th main series in the franchise, Chrono Duel Nexus isn't just following in those massive footsteps. By introducing this temporal hub, it's actively building upon and potentially colliding with that exact storied history. But for this 9th era, the torch is being passed in a completely unprecedented way.
Which brings us to Section 1, a groundbreaking new heroine.
Now, what's really interesting about the shifts in this 2028 release is that they aren't just mechanical. They represent a massive, historic milestone for the franchise. We have Konami Kojima stepping up as the franchise's very first pioneering female lead duelist. And alongside her is her girlfriend, Yutori Nagano. Together, they are making history as the first explicitly sapphic couple in the main Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime canon. The source material highlights that this shift brings much deeper themes of love, partnership, and mutual growth right to the forefront of the narrative. It's just a fantastic, natural evolution for the series' character-driven storytelling.
And man, Konami is bringing some serious energy to the table. Her signature battle cry, "Keep on ticking." She runs a ridiculously powerful time-themed deck headlined by her ace monster, the Chrono Eyes Time Dragon. What makes her strategy so fascinating is how it perfectly blends those nostalgic revival tactics, like pulling resources back from the graveyard, with futuristic predictions. She uses spellcasters like Nostalgic Magician and Futuristic Magician to literally bridge the gap between past and future plays. It's so cool.
All right, moving on to Section 2. The Chrono Summoning Codex.
So how exactly does this temporal warfare play out on the field? Well, to survive the mysteries of the Nexus, you have to master time itself. Enter Chrono Summoning. This is a revolutionary skill built entirely around manipulating time. Duelists aren't just slapping cards down, they're rewinding actions, accelerating their strategies to predict opponent plays, and manipulating a brand new resource called time counters to completely bend the flow of battle. The creators specifically designed this to mirror the high-level excitement and combo chaining of actual real-life trading card gameplay.
Let's break down this highly structured process step by step so it's completely clear. First, you've got to control a Chrono card to get things started, something like the Time Nexus Field spell. Second, during each player's standby phase, these Chrono cards slowly accumulate time counters. Third, you tribute or banish lower-level Chrono materials from your hand, your field, or your graveyard. And finally, you declare your Chrono Summon. This brings out a massive monster that gets immediate buffs, like say an extra 500 attack points for every single counter you accumulated. It really rewards patience and perfect timing.
So the crucial point here is how all this incredible power is actually kept in check, right? Well, the rules impose some pretty strict limitations. First off, you're capped at a maximum of 2 Chrono Summons per turn. If you max that out, you're entirely locked out of normal or tribute summons for the rest of that turn. And this is huge for real-world players. It starts a chain. That means it is chainable but also absolutely negatable by destructions like the infamous Ash Blossom. It's a beautiful way to balance explosive, time-bending plays with critical vulnerabilities.
That takes us into Section 3, Manipulating the Time Stream.
Let's see how this actually translates into lore and strategy as duelists navigate the unstable Nexus. When a character physically alters time in a duel, there's a direct cost and effect. If they choose to rewind, they might have to banish a card from the graveyard just to return a previously destroyed card to the field. If they accelerate, they pay a massive cost, like skipping their opponent's next draw phase, just to summon a card directly from the deck as if they predicted the future. Or they can loop by simply placing a time counter to reuse a spell or trap. It quite literally transforms the duel into a dynamic, shifting timeline.
When we analyze the strategic depth of Konami's Temporal Dragon strategy, we uncover a really fascinating contrast. The pros are immense. We're talking infinite recursion because time loops get around graveyard hate, the ability to pull off insane one-turn kills via acceleration, and massive scaling the longer the game drags on. But the cons, they're equally severe. The deck is incredibly vulnerable to banish-heavy matchups, and even worse, the very time counters you spend the whole game painstakingly building up, yeah, those can actually be hijacked or stolen by your opponent.
And this brilliantly illustrates how the supporting cast weaponizes this new system in entirely different ways. Yutori, for instance, plays a protective Cupid archetype. She uses time loops to shield her allies and heal life points, really emphasizing those emotional bonds. Then you've got a rival like Rob Shibata running a mechanical clockwork deck. Instead of speeding himself up, he uses mechanical precision to literally delay his opponent's summons by an entire phase. And of course, every great protagonist needs a loyal ally, which we get in the quick-witted comic relief, Jimmy Sugimoto.
Now for Section 4, the temporal threat. Because all of this incredible power and preparation, it's leading towards something much, much darker. Enter the enigmatic main antagonist, Mr. Daishi Takada. This isn't just your standard friendly rivalry. Takada commands a brutal, paradox-driven deck, led by the terrifying Paradox Dragon and Paradox Soldier. His goal isn't just to win some tournament. He represents an existential threat aiming to shatter timelines entirely and exploit the very mystery hidden at the center of the Chrono Nexus.
Takada pulls this off through a devastating mechanic known as a time lock. This is an incredibly oppressive effect that actively freezes the time counters our heroes work so hard to accumulate. By banishing an opponent's card, Takada generates these paradox counters that literally reverse effects and milk the heroes of their primary resource. It completely flips the Chrono summoning system on its head. It raises the tension through the roof and creates the ultimate mechanical and narrative obstacle for Konami.
Which leaves us with this final, hanging question. If the Paradox Dragon actually succeeds, what happens when time itself shatters at the Nexus? With unprecedented representation, a revolutionary time-bending mechanic, and the weight of a 25-year legacy hanging in the balance, Yu-Gi-Oh! Chrono Duel Nexus is setting up a mystery that we absolutely cannot wait to solve in 2028. Thank you so much for joining me in this explainer. Keep your eyes on the clock, because time is already running out.